It's not a big deal.
Right.
Brian, are you gonna be joining us virtually today then?
Yes.
Brian, are you gonna, can you just confirm you'll present virtually?
You stick around after the meeting.
I kind of but no, I didn't really see this
We asked Lisa about the
Really?
Can you take yours with you? Your name tag?
No, it wasn't that long. Sure. Yeah. Put it on the wall in your shop. My copy. Oh, it was like dust. Yeah, well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
We're gonna get older.
my camera. Oh. Hey, Joe. Rick wants to talk to you.
Okay. We'll go later on.
All right.
So, Officer Raymond called me yesterday and trying to get into the black box. That's the code. Last emergency people know, so.
It's all finished, but they have changed. There's a couple of them that have changed. It's gotten some of theirs, they have changed. Smoke cars, years.
Mark,
Garage
yeah,
ones.
Ted,
And then, what's in the?
the presentation about public Oh, wow.
Dinner's been busy over
It's been on, it's been. Not too hot.
Didn't even see you coming, Corey.
Pretty low, pretty warm.
there? It is what it is. Other than that, it's an hour and a half to ring.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yep.
Could be a bunch of probably gas.
Yeah, I've got somebody else on there.
So, yeah, but I. When I get back, maybe before I leave, I just Yeah.
Yeah, they, yeah, and then you don't have to. I think that. So you just, that changed too, but I appreciate it. Yeah.
I think
Thanks.
It's 6 o'clock, everybody, I'll pause the order for this to become a meeting of the city of Wabasha.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a guest speaker tonight, Lisa Martha's here, the food chair. Welcome, Martha. Give us a little review of the year.
Thank you very much. I will be brief. It seems like you have a crowded agenda. We do. There's a timer waiting. So I just wanted to say thank you again, once again, for considering the contribution towards the food share. As a little bit of background, as I think everyone is more or less aware, we used to be in a city-owned building, and that building obviously was recently removed and is being replaced with housing, so we moved to the old middle school, which has been a very, very positive move for us. I will say that in our new space, we have much greater capacity. We can generally serve around 50 households an hour at our peak speed. We can't keep that up over our entire open hours or we run out of food, but we have so much more space for people and it's a much more dignified experience. Because we're now located in the old school, our utilities are just rolled into our rent. There's no way to meter exactly how much, and as I was preparing for this evening, I had a conversation with Caroline where I was like, I really want to ask my landlords to look into what my utility costs are, because I suspect they're much higher than they actually think that they are. We have all the same refrigeration units as we did before, and also our walk-in cooler and freezer, which has allowed us to take advantage of exceptional deals and opportunities and made it so that it's much easier for us to do our job, focusing on fresh produce and on frozen proteins especially. So in brief, your $4,000 contribution that the city of Wabasha has been providing since
2020.
Yeah, since 2020, covering those utilities now covers part of our rent, and as rent is our third largest cost and basically one of our largest fixed costs, it makes a huge difference to us to know that the city will help support and cover that cost. So that we can use more of the contributions that people donate to us privately as they are intended to purchase the food that we distribute. I will just add that over the past 2 months, we've seen a small surge in attendance. We had settled into almost 2 years of a norm of around 500 visits a month, distributing between 25,000 and 30,000 pounds of food a month. Just in June and July, we started seeing closer to, well, in June, we saw, I think it was 642 visits, in July, 635 households. So we're not, I can't say yet that this is a sustained step up or if it's just summer and kids being out of school and all the things that go with summer. But it's possible that we are once again in a period of growth for the need for home food relief. So are there any questions?
Good work.
Martha's extremely resourceful in the management of our budget, food shares budget, but also an excellent grant writer. So whenever there's an opportunity, we tend to be very competitive and successful in
Yeah.
receiving those funds to the community, so I really appreciate that.
I mean, because we, moved into our bigger space, we were able to purchase a used walk-in cooler and freezer. We actually got a grant from the South Country Health Alliance that covered the entire cost of those units. Because we have those units, we also were able to apply to a grant from the Taylor Family Farms Foundation to help cover the cost of produce, which has been a rising cost for us. And got that grant as well for $10,000 to spend on produce. And so every week I can put in an order and get, 5 cases of apples and 4 cases of cabbage and a bunch of carrots that I would have nowhere to put, except we're in a bigger space and I have the walk-in. So it's each step leads to greater successes and to more opportunities.
Say, Martha, if somebody wants to make donation monetary or food, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we accept donations. You can always mail them to us, Wabasha Area Food Share, 611 Broadway Avenue. If you have, right now is our garden produce season, and we are very happy to accept garden produce. So if anyone knows someone or has a garden that you're just like, oh, what am I gonna do with all these zucchinis? The answer is you're gonna bring them to the food shop, because we rehome zucchinis at a pretty amazing rate. So we're open on Tuesday afternoons. There's volunteers usually from noon to 6, definitely 1 to 6 we're open. And then on Thursday mornings, usually there's somebody there 8 to noon, certainly 9 to noon, it's our open hours. And you can just bring in monetary donations or food donations during open
How
hours.
about like, favors and stuff like that?
Yes, we're always happy. For certain items, including hygiene products such as like adult diapers, and for pet food, if you are in a situation where you have opened a package and find it is not to your suiting, or you have tried a 50-pound bag of dog food on your dog and then discovered they're allergic to chicken or whatever, those items specifically, we will accept open packages of, which is something not everyone knows. Generally, what we're looking for food donations is unopened, unexpired, usually shelf stable, but we can also, if you call me and tell me what it is, accept freezer items as well.
Phone, if you've never done that before, just your name and your address for the record, and share a few minutes with council. And council doesn't typically respond unless it's on the agenda later, but we welcome any comments from the public.
Do we wanna maybe defer Jim's comments to right before our item? Can
That's
we do
fine.
that?
I think we can.
Would you be all right with that?
Anyone online care to make a comment?
It's Judy and
Right, okay, right. Anyone else? We have a costume member of an upcoming community theater production who doesn't want to make a public comment. All right. Hearing no further public, yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Could I?
Yes, please.
Could I address you for?
Of course, please.
Sorry, I didn't understand. I just wanted to give you an update on the summer season,
Perfect.
if you don't mind. Yeah, I'll only be 2 seconds, won't bore you to death. I just kind of wanted to.
All right. Lords and ladies of the city council, my name is Patchy the Pirate.
I'm sorry.
I am SpongeBob's #1 fan. In this man, I wanted to bring attention.
He's been
Pirate prejudice will not allow me or my pirate brethren into the theater. This will not stand. I want everybody to know that that is not fair.
I'm so sorry. Patchy, we've already had this discussion.
I will come back for you, man. I will see you August
Sorry, I don't
13th
mean to take your time.
through the
No, I didn't
26th,
mean to-
August 13th through the 26th.
See you
He's
there.
upset, he's claims to be SpongeBob's biggest fan. And, obviously, I mean, you'll see a lot of stuff there, you guys, you'll see like 51 community members acting, you'll see a live band, you'll see, vibrant colors. The songs are done by 12 different artists, there's over 100 people involved in the production. It's really just been absolutely incredible, but, I mean, I guarantee you guys, you won't see any pirates there. You won't see that pirate. It's been a great season so far. We've had probably 6,000 people visit Under the Bridge. Great concerts, really unique artists, something for everybody this summer. But we still got a lot left. We've got the children's play coming up. It's Space Pirates. And for those of you that don't know, this is over 30 years of children's plays in Wabasha. River Junction Arts Council is in its 47th year now. We're coming up on 50 years in 2029. And so we really appreciate, all the support that we get from the community. The music under the bridge has just been incredible. I want to thank all the city folks that come out. Anything that we ever need, they're there in a second for us. It's always clean, it's always managed, it's always safe for everybody that comes there. It's really a cool, unique thing. Like I said, we got the children's play coming up. We've got SpongeBob the Musical, which starts on the 13th. But if you'd like to just pop in on the 12th, anybody's invited. Pop in and listen to a couple of the tunes. That's just kind of a preview show for people to kind of see what's going on. And then we'll open on the 13th. And don't forget to get your tickets. We have the second annual art fair coming up. If you could take one past those. Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry to just hand all that to you. It'd be easier if I didn't do that.
That's right.
And that's on the 12th of September. We're starting to get all those artists lined up. I think we'll probably have 20 plus jury unique artists there. We had a lot of new applications this year, and the level of the art is way up there. So make sure that you stop by and visit. Make sure you come up and buy something for the old mantle and support those artists. Any questions? Any concerns or anything we could do better? City council point of view or anything like that? We're always looking for feedback.
Our deck's been amazing for years, but this year seems dramatically, like your audience is just ballooned. Are you noticing that? Is that true, or is it just a perception?
It is true, and that's because the board is super active. We've got a full board of volunteers that are involved in band booking, contracting, social media, pictures. It's just that we filled all of the spaces and everybody's really excited about their jobs. And we've just been really getting out there, and I think the level of bands have come up in organization. We're now providing sound for anybody that needs it, and that's taken a lot of burden off of bands that will come to visit us. We're collaborating a lot more than we have in the past. This year, we collaborated with Main Street and the National Eagle Center, the Friends of the Library, the Lions, and the Rotary, anybody that really wants to just kind of get together in volunteerism and put something on. So that's why it's expensive. Right? So I just wanted to give you an update, let you know what we're doing, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, we appreciate you
For
all.
the musical?
What's that?
How much are the tickets for SpongeBob?
$15 for children, 20 for senior, and 25 for adults. Yep, and it is worth every penny of it. It's a Broadway show, live band. Everybody's made everything from scratch. It's just really incredible. I've been releasing the cast pictures. I don't know if you've seen that on Facebook,
Yes.
but it's from 8 to 81.
Whoa.
So it's so cool to have all of this art come out from people that didn't even know they had it. So cool. I appreciate your time, everybody.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You do.
Yeah.
Any other public comment? Oh, and Caroline's pointing out something good that we try to remind people. If you make public comment and then you don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting, that's just fine. Same for you, Martha. Your time is very valuable. Anybody online besides Brian? No. All All right, changes or additions to the agenda. I just noticed, just a typo in the consent agenda, it's just in that subject, it's not problematic throughout the, agenda item, but consent number 8.5, it's just one extra zero in that figure.
Yeah.
Under dollar.
Yep, yep,
It's
yep,
not either.
6,000.
So that's a good correction. Anything else for changes? Just remind me that we're gonna take those public comments right before that, item. Hearing no other changes, I can just say this has just been an incredible of our fire and EMS and police families who've been involved with the resolution of the accident that happened mid-July. And I'm just appreciating all of you and thinking about you all the time. I know that grief comes up in different ways and doesn't get resolved quickly, and it's a long healing process for everybody individually and for everyone's families and the whole community. So it's been a strange, startling halt to the typical feelings of summer, but I know there's lots of love being shown to families directly affected, and I hope to those that are not directly affected, it's been a lot. So we have a I would like another term, employee assistance program that individuals should always feel free to take a look at. Those programs are better than they seem. Some of them, I don't know if the cities allow multiple visits if you want to talk to somebody. And for those involved in emergency response, because talking to a therapist or somebody who's never experienced the response side of that can be very difficult, but these are resources where the individuals that are on the line understand the job and the toll it takes. So please continue to use those resources and just lean on each other, and please let me know if anybody needs anything. We'll try to figure out how we can resource that. Committee reports, you guys did have streets, yes, yesterday?
Utilities,
Utilities, excuse me.
just paid bills.
Okay. And court just met.
Yeah, we met on July 21st as well as just earlier this afternoon. We paid bills as well. I think the one of note is for the barge terminal. We paid our first installment in the barge terminal project to Lunda. So there's a start if anybody's driven by. There's a road out there now, so, or at least an access. That will be ultimately a little more secure. So certainly during the time for construction and that. We attended the Minnesota Port Association meeting. I guess the biggest thing about that is the entire association, all 5 ports were shut out of the bonding for 2026. Some projects, including ours, are going forward, which is nice. We continue to look for childcare access, certainly for the childcare center that we've been trying to get off the ground. With special need today, and that related also to the barge terminal. Went out for issuance and sale of bond for $2 million. We'll see that item was at 10-1 tonight, so we'll talk about that then. Otherwise, that's it.
Has the county said anything about interest in licensure, new licensure? With regards, because that's a family license that the county managed, it has, have they seen any?
No, I haven't asked.
Okay, we should. So that's a family, for anybody who knows somebody who might be a good childcare provider, they don't need to be a center director to run that classroom, which was the Head Start classroom. It would be a family license they would obtain through the county. So the same licensure as all of our other in-home family providers. So if you know anyone that you could encourage, it's a different opportunity to have a space outside of one's home. If your home doesn't accommodate childcare or you don't want to do it in your home, of course, there's benefits that people find to having it in their homes as well. So it's not the right solution for everybody. A lot of our in-home providers are probably very happy doing their business out of their homes, but it's an opportunity for somebody who can't do that or doesn't want to. Streets, Tony, and parks.
Good evening, everyone. Streets met today. They discussed GSB spray seal project on the 2013 streets that need to be they need some spray seal on top to seal them up. Starting to dry out. We kept them crack filled, but it's time to put some type of material on top, and this type of material is about half the cost of what we normally do, so it's going to get us a little bit further. Malone Park
they discussed that, approved, some infrared patching, crack filling, and spray seal, and then striping for that. Hoping next year to possibly tackle, Ice Park, which is a lot bigger parking lot, so it's gonna eat up some money next year. Moving on, park board met, July 15th. They discussed and approved the female Marine soldier statue at Betts Park. So we're gonna, we're 2 new bases down there. One is gonna be for that statue, and there's 1 more coming, so there'll be 4 total, when that project's done. And there's still fundraising for the female statue, right? So if anybody wants to take part in that, contact American Legion or the VFW post in town. Food share mural, they're looking at moving it to the empty FEMA lot on Bridge Avenue, kind of next to the community garden. So it'll be,
That's on the
oh, memorial bench requests. So we were looking for a spot for the next memorial bench donation, and we did find one that's down at Heritage Park that's a pretty poor condition. So I think we're gonna switch that out. And then they discussed the pool evaluation coming up for later this fall or early spring. That was approved. Campground fees, boat lease fees, park reservations, they had a recommendation of a certain percentage to look at raising our fees this year due to the costs and everything going up. We're still working on that with budget and kind of picking different things and seeing what we can do, what's competitive with the neighboring communities. And that's it.
And the swings are done. Thank you for all the help with that. That was a long, planned process that was, nice to get completed. And anything else, do you want to do? Yep, here's his whole report. Take your time, again.
So I did along with you the report this morning. I'll just kind of touch on some of the highlights. So I try to do this every year to kind of just give a big overview of how the service did for the year. We did have our record number of calls last year with 1,016. Our crew training hours were up 195.75 hours over last year, so our crew's been doing more training. I tried to make sure that people get out to conferences or classes because we can only do so much in-house. Cardiac arrest saves and delivered 1 baby. Our
Brian, I'm just gonna follow you along on here. What page are you on?
I'm now on page 7.
Okay.
Our interfacility, ALS interfacility transfers that we took last year were 109, which was a 91% increase over 2024. Our ALS intercepts were up 14 from 2024. Our ALS pre-hospital medications given were up 98, and our ALS medication infusions were up 24 over last year. Our ALS revenue was up 114% over last year to $309,759.71. Overall, our call volume was up 97 calls over 2024, and our transfer requests were up to 40, requests taken were up 40 to 41.1%, which was a 7.5% increase over 2024.
I like this for sure.
So our revenue, just for our billing revenue,
What page are you on, Brian?
11.
11.
Budgeted 408,000. We finished with 493, 241.89, which was 1 penny shy of $93,000 over what we budgeted for 2025. Our overall revenue increased was above what we budgeted by 73,862.36, which was an overall increase of 15.7% in our overall revenue. Our community engagement, our social media presence was something we kind of hit hard last year, which I think has led to where we kind of sit now. We have a waiting list for our paid on calls. I think we're up to 7 or 8 right now. So the younger generation likes seeing everything that we're doing and just being out there. So I think that's been a big thing. During our last interviews, there was people who did point to that as a reason why they applied. We did 20 public education events, the National Night Out for sporting events, station tours, township meetings, touch and truck events, and county fair events. And then our future initiative, Hopeful. I've been working with the county on some early stuff, in their age-friendly initiative, on how we could work together for them to recommend people to us and us recommending people to them to kind of help our elderly population be able to safely stay at home longer. And then eventually with the community paramedic, Dr. Spano was very excited to get that, but there's just a little bit more on that side to get worked out how that would exactly work. But it's something that will be a positive change for us in helping people not go to the ER or keep them out of being readmitted to the hospital. So hopefully that'll take hold sometime next year. For July 26th, we had 111 calls last month, which is our most that we've ever had. Was up 14 calls from July of last year. We took 51.4% of our transfers. We took 57.9% of our ALS transfers. Overall, for the year to date, we're at 614 calls, which is 32 calls over this same time last year. Our 911 calls are up 26 from July of last year. Our total transfers taken, we've taken 21 more than this time last year. And our year-to-date transfer taken number is 53.2%. So we've been keeping up with that. I got the grant for the video laryngoscopes from Computer, which is on the consent agenda. We are already at 18 calls for August, and it's only the 4th. And then I emailed everybody about our rigs that were down. We never missed any 911 calls, but we did turn down 4 transfers during that time.
And Ryan's gonna put his annual report on the website under the ambulance page, so all the other reports are there, so that'll be great if anyone wants to reference that and navigate to the ambulance page.
So is there any questions about the report that anybody had?
I'm gonna study the graphs at a later point in time, but I like
They're all right
graphs.
None of them are right now.
So, thanks for putting those graphs together.
No, very, very nice format for the public too. Thank you, Ryan. Fire department, any updates you want us to have? And when to
We did not meet in July, and I believe the August one will be canceled.
all right. We'll hear from Caroline.
Okay, well, we're going to party at the next meeting a little bit, but I do have to, share a photo, and then we'll have more photos coming. But it is Joe's 25th anniversary, and here he is, 25 years ago. And we secretly got some photos supplied by your mother, so more to come next month. Stand up.
Thanks, Mom.
So, congratulations. Yes, congratulations on your 25 years of service. Your police officers will roast you next month, but just for me personally, I mean, Joe has seen a lot, knows a lot about the city of Wabasha and has been a great leader in this department and has brought stability and an excellent team and just really renowned as a great department. So thank you. And something that I appreciate Joe is he's also kind of focused on mental health from his experiences with the department, and so having his voice at the table with that too is great. And so, yeah, I don't know, I'm just like, I looked at this photo and I was like, wow, back then we had he was just very young, so, but no, 25 years is quite the career, and we hope we have some more years ahead too. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
Part two, we'll have to take this
How
home.
about Pete?
Yeah,
Well, I wasn't expecting it.
yes, I told them next month, but then I remembered I had it on the agenda, so.
On our consent, we've got regular city council minutes from July 7, our special city council minutes from July 13th, approving of the full EMT, Brandon Tice, that's great, that's wonderful. Approving the purchase of the video laryngoscopes and which is the computer grant that Ryan successfully obtained. $5,600, not $56,000 in minor roof repairs for City Hall, Police Garage, and Library. The approval to pay the Wabasha Food Share their contribution for 2026. $18,500 in repairs on the W2 truck for fire, the August warrants, the 2013 project street ceiling preservation project that Tony mentioned, and the Malone parking lot maintenance project that Tony mentioned. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move.
First, Tim.
Second.
A second from John. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We have a public hearing now on our peddlers ordinance, the work that we were shown last month. We had some suggestions on hours. Christie made those revisions. So we will open a public hearing. And at this time, if anyone online or present wishes to make comments specific to this this change in the ordinance, please do so now so that your comments will be part of the official record. We'll invite you to join us at the podium so we can hear you.
I could summarize the changes again, if sure people want to make comments based on
That sounds good.
thing. But the peddlers, ordinance just controls door-to-door sales in Wabasha, and it hadn't been looked at in a while. One of the big changes as we were working on the budget is, it kind of captures the cost for the city to process these applications, which does include things like a background check. And then under your direction, I know that we changed the hours, and I'm not necessarily finding that page,
8
but
to 8 Monday through Friday.
it was 8 to 8 Monday through Friday, and we removed the ability to do door-to-door on the weekends. And we also eliminated the need, there it is, 8 AM, to come to council and get each one approved. It can just be administratively approved when they complete the background check. So I think we currently charge $35, and then that's gonna go up quite a bit to match what other cities are charging with it. So, that's it. I think this probably relies on complaints, and, you know, if the police department takes the complaint, direct someone to come, get a permit, but there's probably when this is completed, maybe some awareness we can do with the community that, you know, anyone conducting door-to-door sales needs to be permitted with the city, and, you know, if you have any concerns, here's where to take your complaints, so.
How does the resident know they're permitted?
We issue them, I don't know, when you wanna comment on that?
Yeah, we issue them a card,
Yeah, so they should be able to show you a card.
and they can always, if questioned, call the city hall if they wanna make sure they are.
I'll officially open the hearing at 6:34. Take any public questions or comments? And calling for any comments related to this item. Your day goes too quickly, just open up a. Call again for any public comment related to the peddler's ordinance. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing at 6:35. And we have staff recommendation to adopt this ordinance change.
I'll move to approve.
Second. So first by Tim, and second by Brian. Any further discussion? Thanks to staff for the work on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. All right, now on to general business. So, this is the resolution providing for the issuance and sale of a $2 million, $50,000 general obligation bond. And, we have Mr. Mike Rubani here for a little reminder of how this works, and then of course, we would entertain any questions from council. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good
yes.
evening. So I just presented to the Port Authority. I will make my presentation to you shorter. Last time I was before you, we talked about recommendations for the issuance of debt to pay for the barge terminal project. This morning we opened bids. We were a little bit disappointed that we only received 2 bids. Usually we expect 3 to 5 bids. The only reason I could come up with that perhaps we didn't get more interest was just because of the unique nature of the project, as opposed to being a easy to understand water tower project or a road project. But the good news is that we got a good result of the bids, resulting in a net effective interest rate about 40 basis points lower than what I showed you folks a couple of months ago. As part of that process, we did secure a credit rating. You were reaffirmed at the AA-, which is good. And I just noticed in the bid tab, it says AA- stable. I should say negative. The city is currently teetering between a AA- and an A+ rating. This is exactly the same place where we were last year when we issued the city's debt. So there's no change there. It's basically just telling the world in the next 1 to 3 years, if we significantly add to our debt or decrease our cash reserves, we could see us being pushed to an A+. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean much other than maybe a slightly higher interest rate on a future borrowing by 5-10 basis points. But there's no guarantee that will even happen. It's just saying until we see 1 to 3 years pass and everything stays stable, then we could see that go right back to stable again. So I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over that whatsoever. Anyways, I've shown you a net effective rate of about 4.5%, came in just under 4.1%. There should be a printout on your page with the bid tab, as well as the updated cash flow. Based on the bids, it did generate a little bit of premium, which allowed me to decrease the size of the bonds by $5,000. So instead of $2,050,000, we're talking about $2,045,000. And the better than projected rates leads to about $108,000 less in total payments over the life of the approximate 20-year term than what I showed you a couple of months ago. Prepayment is not allowed until February 1st of 2034. Question came up during Port Authority's, what if we'd like to prepay it early? You couldn't until that time. But the expected net revenues of the terminal are expected to exceed the payments necessary here. So you should build cash, and when 2034 rolls around, if you'd like, you'd be able to prepay in whole or in part on any date without penalty. So complete flexibility at that point. As I mentioned to the Port Authority, we went with the longer term, even though it was potentially possible to finance this over a shorter term. We want to keep the payments smaller, just in case if we had a bad year and we had to, gap fill the terminal revenues with some other source. So anyways, with that, why don't I stop there and take questions?
Question mark. Tim, Jeff just thoroughly reviewed this with their work colleagues, so.
The resolution before the council is a concurring resolution. The Port Authority actually is the issuer. We're just simply concurring with that action as because you authorized the general obligation pledge to back the bonds. So
Is the bond issue $2,050,000 or $2,045,000?
45.
Okay, so we just need to change the number.
Yeah,
I'll approve that.
updated resolutions were sent late this afternoon, but we just can't provide that until we open bids and verify everything. So
I'll second.
We have a motion from Tim, we have a second from Dean. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Thank you for your time. Thank you for
Thank
staying
you
for
all.
two meetings.
Appreciate it, no, lovely.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch with staff as we approach
Sounds good.
closing, so.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right.
Now we are at the 2025 street utility improvement assessments, and we'll take some public comment on that. If anybody would like to make comment, I know Jim's here for that. I think he's just suggesting that it just makes it more contiguous for us.
Jim Perry, 227 Coffee Mill Drive, I'm here representing the golf course, Coffee Mill Golf Course, president of the board of directors. I'm handing out just kind of another bullet point things that I came up with, and going back to the original March of 2025 Bolton and Main Street report, where these assessments were first proposed. Interesting, there were 33 residences or units being assessed for Skyline Drive, the golf course being one of those, of course. But there are two property owners that seem to be left off. I just last night saw an updated recommendation or report by Bolton and Bank. Kraus and Gilbertsons are left off of the most recent one, so I don't quite understand why, but they border the same 100 yards that the golf course uses when you first turn off Highway 60. Second bullet point, I want to just reiterate that, again, Minnesota statute states that the cost of any improvement may be assessed whether or not the property abuts on the improvement. And then I was looking through again the March 2025 Bolton Bank report that I initially saw. And I underlined, but I thought was kind of interesting. Shall be assessed to the benefiting properties, but not greater than the benefit to the property. Benefiting properties are those properties that have a benefit from the streets being improved. So again, clearly not abutting landowners, lot owners, residences that use the road benefit from that road being improved. I would argue the golf course doesn't benefit from it. We don't use it. We don't plan on developing, so that's a separate issue, but I find it kind of interesting that it seems Bolton Bank's own document stated any property that benefits should be assessed. And to me, that's what I would strongly encourage the council to adopt, a different means of assessing and think in terms of users. You know, when it's 12th Street, 14th Street, and somebody has to drive down 14th to get to 15th or whatever, that's a little different. We're talking about the one-offs, Alpine Ridge, Coffee Mill Drive, Skyline Drive. Those are a little unique in that you've got private roads that end when the city road, but yet everybody up there would say common sense is who uses the road to get to where they live. And I can also tell you that the people on Skyline Drive that are being assessed, they've expressed some very, which I think is valid, frustration that the 8 houses beyond where Skyline Drive ends aren't being assessed. They obviously don't think it's fair, but that, again, that's the process you guys have adopted. Again, the golf course uses the first 100 yards. If you go down to the 5th bullet point, there's probably 25 homes or lot owners that use 25 additional home or lot owners that use the same 100 yards that the golf course uses. None of these are being assessed, but 9 of those additional 25 use the entire length of Skyline Drive to access their residence. So in the next bullet point, I did some quick math, and it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly how much money is being assessed to people or residences for Skyline Drive, but I came up with from the original report
33, now it's down to 31 because two of them are missing. But the point is, if you just used a method that said who uses the road, who benefits from the road being improved, you'd now be able to divide that cost against 58 instead of 33, in essence, bringing everybody's assessment down. So that's all I'm asking, is that there should be some thought given to who uses the road that's being improved. If you wanted to get into what clearly statutes refer to and Bolton makes report refers to, but you can't assess more than it improves the value of the property. That's a very argumentative thing, and we have said from the beginning, it doesn't improve the value, doesn't increase the value of the golf course by doing Skyline Drive. The last bullet point I refer to, again, I just saw the most recent recommendation from Bolton Bank last night. And I saw that they're giving the council 3 options with, it seems like, with respect to the golf course specifically. Option 1 is to assess where you were last at when I was here a month ago, 17,000 and change. Option 2, 10,000. Option 3, 4,000. Before I even saw that last night, we as the board had met and voted and agreed upon that we would agree to an assessment of $5,000 versus appealing. Quite frankly, we know what it's gonna cost to appeal it. And anything more than that, it's worth us appealing. And so I would just respectfully ask that you give it some thought. And with that, I'll take a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments related to this item? Is Brian gonna regroup with us here on these, the most recent memo?
He's online. Hi, Brian.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
We did have some, our city attorney, consider this issue knowing that it was tabled from last month, and the special benefit test is not simply common sense, it is based in constitutional statute as well as appellate law. So we can't simply just kind of decide how the special benefit test is arrived at. We don't have that authority given the case law. But Brian, anything else further based on the memo that you've updated us with?
No, I guess I provided the memo with the 3 options that we talked about at the last meeting. I assume everybody had a chance to review that. In summary, the 3 options, option 1 was what we looked at last time, which was a golf course assessment of 17,500 and the typical residential ERU of 1897. Option 2 was reducing the golf course down to 10,000, which would increase the residential assessment to 2,000. And then option 3 was basically assessing the golf course for 2 ERUs, which is 4163, which then raises the other ERUs to about 2,081. The only other thing I'd mention is the 2 properties that were removed that Mr. Perry mentioned. Those 2 properties are in the township. They're not in city limits, so we're not able to assess them because they're not in city limits. So that's why they were removed.
Thank you.
The only other thing I would say is what we need tonight is just direction from council. 1, on the Market Street assessment roll, if you're okay with that and you want us to proceed with that, that's the assessment roll that we would use at the assessment hearing, presuming you adopt the resolutions tonight. We'd schedule the assessment hearing for your September meeting. So we need a decision on the Market Street assessment roll or some guidance on that. And then really with the mill and overlay reclaim and pave assessment roll, you don't have to approve the actual roll tonight. You just need to give us direction on how you want us to establish that assessment roll as far as the golf course assessment and what the other equivalent residential unit assessments would be.
Very good. And then to set our hearing, right? That's a 3rd action.
Yes, yep, set the hearing date, correct. You
With
could,
regards to-
if you want additional time to review these options and such. I think we talked last meeting, Jessica mentioned we have to certify to the county. I think Caroline, was it October?
Wendy's saying
End of November.
End of November, okay, so we could potentially delay this until September, take the action on the resolutions tonight. So you'd have basically one more month you could delay and we could still have the hearing and still meet the deadline for filing the assessments with the county. It gets a little tight, but just keep that in mind.
And Brian, just to, if they decide they wanted to pursue redoing the process, what does that look like for us? Re-notifying everything, et cetera.
Yeah, we'd have to update the preliminary engineering report to include the other properties. We'd have to renotice everyone, including the properties that you would add. So we'd have to hold the improvement hearing again. And then following that improvement hearing, we would have an assessment hearing again. So we basically have to redo the improvement hearing. So given the advertising and the notice deadlines for that, that would push us into next year, just given the notice requirements and the timing that has to happen with that. So then you'd be certifying the assessments for the tax year 2028 instead of 2027.
And as I understand it, we would just have to use available city cash flow temporarily to cover our debt and then to catch up the following year.
Yep.
So on the Market Street roll, does anyone have?
I move to approve that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the Market Street roll, or that's the direction we want staff to go. We have a first and a second, Tim and John, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. I'm sorry, say no. All right, now on the direction for the mill and overlay, does anybody have a motion they'd like to entertain?
I don't have a motion yet, because I want everybody else's input, but I know it's gonna be a pain, and shame on me for not looking at this sooner and figuring out that this is the direction I wanna go, but I feel like we should reassess with all the properties that benefit, including the ones on the back. It just seems like the right thing to do for me. I know it's gonna take extra time, it's gonna take extra money. And so I kicked it around pretty hard, thinking maybe just for, if we wanna redo our thought process after this to get this done, I considered that, but I think in this situation, to me, it's justifiable that those people in the back that use that road to get there, should be contributing to this. So, I do wanna hear feedback, but I'd be prepared to make that motion that we redo the assessment hearing and proceed that way, so.
My feedback to that would be then, what's the next one-off that we have to deal with whereby, I don't know, River Drive, folks are thought to be benefactors of Rustic Lane or, however they get to their street, because we have these street projects all the time. Where you could argue that there's other, beneficiaries, but when I look at the direct benefit and kind of the statutory constitutional underlying, reason for the definition, it's clear to me when a property abuts a street improvement, that there's a direct benefit. It's really hard to know when to stop that line of reasoning. Because I benefit from all the streets that I get to, my business on or my home on, but where what streets do I not benefit from then? And I know that with a private home on a private road that can only get there, it seems like common sense, but when you think about a public infrastructure, then it's common sense to say that the township users also benefit from it, but that's not really what the statute outlines, and that's not what our policy outlines. So that'd be my kind of response to your consideration. I don't know if others have thoughts.
That is, just to respond to that, I've tried to set, precedent, even in my own life, my own business, you know, you try to make a rule to deal with a situation and I can't. Even with work, you know, I have two similar situations, I have to look at one different than the other. So I would suggest we just, you know, we tackle these as individual projects and make the right decision at the time. You know, instead of trying to apply a rule to each specific situation, so.
So how does that apply to our public improvement policy? If we go arbitrarily, if you will, you know, each case, we kind of adjudicate individually.
Well, we might have to make a change to the policy, just to
So,
reflect that.
I think that certainly should be something we look at doing, right,
Mhm.
going forward. So does the city plow these roads, you know, or are they plowed, so they're not plowed, so we don't do anything with them at all?
Not that I know, of, right, Tony?
We don't private drives?
We plow Skyline Drive, but not the private.
But no.
Okay, all right, yeah, sorry, that's what I thought.
No, we don't do anything to them. We do have utilities that run back there that we take care of. Water and sewer.
Yeah, right.
Do we have a precedent, I can't recall from like the Main Street reconstruction, whereby we negotiated with an entity to limit the number of ERUs. I remember the Eagle Center was surprised by their assessment too, and kind of came thinking that they didn't have to pay it based on their nonprofit status, but my recollection is they just ultimately paid their full assessment. We didn't decrease their ERUs or give them a 50% off option,
No, we didn't make any adjustments on the downtown
They just
project.
learn what their obligation was. So that would be another kind of new precedent. So, you know, it's one thing when an organization like a golf course with good leadership and a board, you know, can kind of come together and sort of negotiate on behalf of it's powerful to have that kind of a leadership structure. But what about when somebody's large property is more than they thought they could handle, and they come to us and say, well, we just want 50% off, we want to be just 2 ERUs when we're really 4. Are we gonna give that individual the same consideration? Because I think it's very different when you've got a board acting on your behalf as a property. It's hard to think that we would give every party that came with the same concern the same consideration. What did we do with the county? We did have the county.
We made them pay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so our precedent has been that people have an assessment obligation and they pay. Both the county has, the Eagle Center has. We haven't negotiated before. And I can't remember when the policy was put into place, but we've tried to follow it. But I agree that we can take a look at policy, because I think even Jess had a question about whether shall provide an assessment or whether it really
Correct, yeah,
will,
right,
we need
I
to
mean,
clean
there's some
that up.
stuff.
Yeah, so Mike was able to provide some clarity on some policy improvement.
Brian, I know one of your points is that we would be we're open to potential appeal with the golf course, we're also open to appeal if we assess the private roads. What is that, can you remind me what that process looks like and what we would expect to expend in time and effort and staff time on appeals?
So related to that, I think if the ultimate decision the council makes is to include the properties on a private road, we need some direction on how do you actually want to assess them? Are we assessing them the same as all the other properties? Are we looking at a lower assessment, less benefit for them? Because the policy, if we read the policy directly, we'd have the right, well, the policy would guide us to assess them the same. There's nothing in the policy that would say to assess them differently if we're going to include them. So we'd want some guidance from you on should they receive the same assessment as others, or should it be a reduced assessment because they don't abut, but they use the road? Or should we get a special benefit appraisal? Special benefit appraisal would be the most clear way to establish what benefit, if any, there is. It would be the most defensible that there's a cost associated with that. So that's one thing. The appeal process itself is at the hearing, property owners would submit an objection in writing, and you accept those. you would typically adopt the assessment role so that there is an actual assessment for them to appeal, unless you want to table it and adjust based on those appeals. But normally we recommend adopting the role so that there is something to actually appeal. Then they have 30 days to file in district court. And then the appeal is valid. If they don't file in district court after 30 days, then the appeal goes away, basically. In my experience, when we've had appeals on assessment projects, what's typically done when you do get an appeal is step one is to try to negotiate. So you don't end up having to spend money on court and those types of things. But that'd be guidance you'd want to take from your city attorney. But it's not an insignificant effort. It does take time. And if you don't have a special benefit appraisal, and you end up going to court on an appeal, you're going to want to have some type of an appraisal if you're going to end up going to court on it and not negotiating.
Sorry,
Just a note on that.
procedure, we're just trying to make sure we do things correctly procedurally, so we end up giving staff what they need. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, if we can potentially knock all these down to $1,600 a piece, just based on Jim's numbers, we gotta consider the likelihood that an appeal is gonna be worth it for anybody for that amount too.
I could go both ways, but part of me is saying not to include those properties just because it goes against our policy currently, or just all of a sudden changing the game in the middle of the project. Part of me thinks these people would pay twice then, so they're paying for the current project, and then if they had to redo their own road, they have to pay for that separately. It's not our problem, but they would be paying it twice, basically. I do agree that we should decrease the golf course pay or the assessment. I would do option two, go down to 10,000. That's a third of what they were assessed. So that's my thoughts on it. I do think we need to look at the policy because there's other things like cul-de-sacs, private roads, whatever else comes up. I'm sure we're gonna have to review. So, and we should write it where it leaves us some wiggle room, right, on some of these projects. So I just kind of, that's my thoughts on it thus far.
So I agree with you in the respect that this is our policy, we probably need to follow it. This tells us that we need to take a close, hard look at our policy and make a change before the next road project. The thing, option 1, 2, or 3. The hard part I have with that is that it becomes more arbitrary, right? It's just, okay, we're gonna say 10 grand, but now we're gonna push that money over to their neighbors. And that makes me uncomfortable. That makes it's like, it's all what's fair and balanced, right? So that would be that's what would make it hard for me to make that decision. Is it becomes more arbitrary to say, okay, 10 grand, or we'll cut a deal and then say 5 grand. For the, it just seems, like I said, arbitrary.
Yeah, that's why I think expanding the assessment pool will alleviate some of that, rather than making that arbitrary decision to just cut their assessment.
Well, do we know that? I mean, we didn't have that calculus done, because we don't understand the actual benefit to those new properties, so. I mean, what if it's minimal, and the golf course still says, no, we're not happy with that. Now we've included new property owners that, to your point, still have to maintain their private road. And to whose benefit, I don't know, I don't know that necessarily solves anything. I mean, it certainly introduces a brand new can of worms that we have to think about every single time we do a project, which is not simply the special benefit, but anybody else could possibly argue has benefit. So it's just, I don't know, that language it sounds like it should be easy to define, but in reality, if you don't limit it to abutting properties, it really, where is the end of that? And I don't know where our common sense collectively draws the line. Cause there's gonna be, I'm just thinking about like Cooley, you know, it's like you can't get to Cooley without, you know, it just, so there are different situations that's in the case, as well as you know, township properties that do apply. And don't end up paying just by virtue of they're not in our tax base, so. I don't think we're gonna do it, I don't know that making it more complicated is gonna help us to do the right thing in the future with a lot more head scratching.
Can I just ask a question? And this is for Brian, I suppose, but in establishing the number of ERUs, et cetera, that you determine, and in the golf course's case, it's obviously a lot. But, given the statute clearly states you cannot assess more than it increases the value of the property, how can you arrive at that without having an appraisal? It is rather arbitrary to simply assess based on ERUs when everything clearly states you cannot assess greater than the improvement increases the value of the property. So we're all gonna end up spending money in getting appraisals and going to court if that's where we're at. And as Brian said, we're gonna likely try and negotiate a settlement. I thought the golf course offered something right from the get-go. We've never asked the city for any help. Council knows this, but this time we thought we want to be fair and reasonable, but we would maintain it does not increase the value of the golf course. That's obviously an opinion that somebody would have to make. But there's still a quantifiable dollar amount or ERU that then you're gonna have to arrive at to justify it.
I guess,
Brian, do you hear him? Okay.
yeah, to answer the question, the policy is based on trying to treat light properties the same. It doesn't calculate property value increase. No city's assessment policy calculates actual property value increase. It determines a value, and what I've read in the League of Minnesota City guidance, it says that the assessment roll itself, when the council adopts it, sets the fact that that is the property value increase. If you get appeal, you have to defend that. I mean, this is really a question for your attorney, but you're right, the only way to determine the actual property value increase is with an appraisal. The problem with that, as we've talked about before, is that one, the appraisals are often more expensive than the amount of assessment revenue change you would get in doing that appraisal compared to the policy. The other problem is it's extremely difficult to find comparable sales pre-project and post-project in cities similar to Wabasha or small towns in Minnesota. There just aren't enough sales to establish you had a sale on the street before the project and a sale on the street after the project to establish that comparable sales and that special benefit. So I've talked to several appraisers about this. So that's why most cities don't do appraisals. They set a assessment policy that calculates what the council determines is a reasonable assessment amount that is unlikely to generate appeals. And that has borne true in Wabasha with your policy. We haven't had appeals traditionally. Most cities that have policies that set the assessment rate at 20%, similar to what Wabasha's is, do not typically get significant numbers of appeals. There are unique situations like the golf course where you end up with a strange property, unique property that ends up with an assessment that doesn't pass the smell test or seems high. The logic behind the policy and the calculation for ERUs on the golf course is, I think what I mentioned earlier, is the golf course isn't the highest and best use for that property. It looks at it as if that property were to be replatted into residential properties, you'd have that many residential units potentially along that frontage. So that's why the policy calculates that way. But it isn't residential now, it's a golf course. So that's the conundrum the council has with that assessment. Are you assessing it for what it could be, or are you assessing it for what it is?
That answered.
Yeah, it does.
procedurally, did you have a suggestion?
Procedurally, I was going to suggest that you first discuss, are we gonna basically redo our process and add the private road properties? And then that'll lead into kind of better debate on the golf course, because then we know kind of how it's gonna impact.
And are we talking about Buena Vista in the same breath here? Because they have private.
Yeah, they have a private road.
Yeah, okay.
There were
So
three parcels on Buena Vista, and I think there were 20, excuse me, I had the number here. Jim mentioned it, 26, I think I counted on Skyline Drive, so a total of 29 between Buena Vista and Skyline. Sorry to interrupt, Brian.
No, that's fine.
So I think that we can't change our policy, we can't assess those on private roads. I think it's something we need to look at in the future for our next project. That's my opinion. I think it's interesting, the idea that, I mean, and it makes some sense in that there is an increased value for the residents up there, right? The improved road. And reasonably not for the golf course, because the golf course doesn't use that road. So, I mean, if we say option 2, that is, 1/3 of what the original assessment was. They still have skin in the game, but it is, well, we can appreciate that the only thing it does is help to improve the residences up there, which makes the whole area more valuable. So, I guess that's where I go.
Okay. Do we need to do like a straw poll to
So
see?
can someone make a motion?
Make a
and we'll-
motion?
And we'll just split it up, so, yeah.
Well, I'll just go ahead and make my motion first, that we proceed with the reassessment. Including the extra upcoming properties. And however you wanna word that motion to make it correct.
So we start over with a totally new assessment process.
Yeah, including all, I think the number 25 was thrown out, so we add the 25 to 33 for a total of 58. Those numbers are loose just based on this sheet, so.
Is that right, Brian? Do you have the users right? I mean, you've got count.
You'd be adding an additional 29 properties is what I count. I mean, we'd verify that, but it's about 29 is what I count. 3 on Buena Vista and 26 on Skyline.
And Brian, would you be suggesting they get charged the same ERU as everybody else, or would you direct staff to consider that slightly less than if you're actually on the road?
Does that need to be part of this motion now?
I don't know, I guess, yeah, let's see where this goes and then.
I would say yes, if that's gotta be determined in this motion, I would say everybody gets the same.
Okay,
Well, it'd have to be the same because our policy is 20%,
okay,
so it'd be, right, it would just be, because we're spreading it out on more properties, it would be reduced overall. But
Yeah, overall.
All right, that motion's on the floor. Do you have a second?
I would second.
Do you have a second? All those in favor say aye, or yeah, do you wanna do a roll vote? I don't know where this is gonna go. What's easier for you, Wendy? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
No.
Abstain.
And Jeff abstains. So we were 4 no's, 2 yeses, and 1 abstain. So that motion fails. So with the consideration of those comments and I think your points are well made. Does anybody want to entertain a second motion on the direction we go with the assessment role for the mill and overlay properties?
So that would be resolution 18/2026, right? Basically, minus the market, which we already did. I'll make that motion. I also would add I don't know if you wanna do it all at once.
Yeah.
So I would make that motion to adopt 19/2026. I would, motion that we reduce Coffeyville to option 2, 10,000. And I would direct staff to revisit the public improvement policy to correct any inconsistencies or make it general.
Hearing that motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
We have a first from Tim, second from Dean. Everything clear there for you, Brian? It's the adoption of that resolution with option 2 is the golf courses assessment. And we're looking to our policy to make sure that it's in agreement with this decision.
Yes.
Tony, can you remind me when our next mill overlay project is? Is it 2027 or 2028? I know you're tracking that on the CIP. I can't.
It should be in, 2028.
2028.
So for sure, we wanna look at the policy with these kind of nuanced considerations in mind. We have a first, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. No.
No.
2 noes. Abstain, Jeff. Okay, motion prevails. Okay, thank you, Jim, for all this consideration. It is very helpful. We appreciate your leadership looking into the matter. And
Can I ask a question, just some clarification, because I'm not clear on, is it the 30-day clock start as of this resolution being passed?
I think it says at the hearing, is that right?
It would be at the assessment hearing. Jim, you'd have to come and file a written appeal at the assessment hearing. You'll get a notice on this and it'll explain exactly what you have to do and what your rights are, but it would be after at the assessment hearing in September.
We're gonna set that hearing right now, so, do we have a motion to set the hearing for September 4th?
So I'll make that motion.
First, we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Just to go back to,
Yes,
here's the 1926, the no's were Woodley and was there another one?
Jim.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for the discussion, guys. Okay, pool technical evaluation, Tony, what do we need to be thinking about? It looks like we need to take this seriously. I'm not surprised. It's been dealing with a lot.
Caroline kind of took the lead on this. I don't know if you want me to go through it. I know some of it, but you know for most of it.
You wanna
we're
talk
talking-
about the problems we faced in maybe the last
Okay.
few years real briefly, and I'll talk about the evaluation.
Yep, so over about the last, I wanna say 4 years, 5 years ago, we started to get a little spot let loose on the pool liner. And so the entire pool is solid concrete, and then the inner, about 1/4 to 3/8 inch thickness is a plaster that's applied to smooth the surface and give the paint a spot to adhere to. And so that process and that liner has a life expectancy of about, I think it's 17 to 20 years. And so about 5 years ago, we started to have some small spots. We fixed them. Next year got a little bit bigger. We fixed them. And then it's different spots that are starting to let loose, and all it does is just separate. You step on it, you knock on it, it's just hollow. And, it's either we tear it up now and fix it before the pool opens, or it breaks up in the middle of the pool season and you can't do nothing. People are cutting their feet on. So 3rd year, it got to be too much, and like, okay, we're doing something different, we watched videos, we went to some school, we're not professionals in patching, pool liners, but we did the best we could. So I hired Thatcher Pools to come, and they did the patching, we watched them, they did the same thing, like, okay, well, maybe they used better material, looked like the same stuff, same result, and every year it seems to be getting worse, so we're on 5 years of patching. We got, I think, probably 6, 7 spots are about this big. Brad says, he said, how old's your liner? I said, I don't know, I wasn't running, in charge of the pool back then or whatever, so I had to do a little digging, and we're at 17 years on the pool liner. From what I could gather out of paperwork. We're back to like Keith Huff, Mike Mraz days, but so I asked Brad, I'm like, well, what was that cost, and he's like, well, Byron's going through it right now, and he said they're at about $250,000 to $300,000. I'm like, real nice,
Is that a real line or is that still a patch job?
No, that's stripping the entire inside, replastered paint, and you're back up and going for, another however long. So that's kind of where we're at.
Mhm.
And then we look at, we're gonna find that money, well, we don't have it. I'm not a professional on it. Brad, it's over Brad's head. Brad kind of filled me in on what he could. He has Thatcher Pool Supplies. He works on Rochester, everybody's pools. But he says way out of my league. I know the last time that we had it done, I think, Mike Sorensen and his crew did that job. And I'm gonna guess it was like $70,000. But I remember, yeah, this was a long time ago. So we're kind of, what do we do now? I kind of mentioned 2 or 3 years ago that we should start looking at a new pool in 10 years or, summer's in the time to try to put money away for it, whatever. So Caroline and I were talking and she's like, well, let's get a specialist in here. We'll spend a little bit of money. They can measure the pool, they can sculpt the pool, they can beat on the pool, and get us, the information that we need. So we can make a plan to move forward, when we need to do it, how we need to do it. And then what's the cost?
So, thank you, Tony. There's 2 things they can do. The one that we're probably recommending was just the 2 site visits, a final report and presentation recommendations. I don't wanna just keep shelling out money without thinking about where are we gonna end in 10 years? Because it feels like we're playing whack-a-mole. If we look at that study of the condition and wanna explore a new pool later on, that's another additional fund, so we're just proposing we include the pool analysis of 8950 in the budget, but she mentioned they could start the work now and bill us in 2027 and be able to, I can't remember if they need to see it when the pool is built.
Pool has to be empty for part of it, so we're
Empty.
thinking this fall.
Yeah.
Because spring there's not much time there between the weather, patching, cleaning and filling. So if this fall, we could empty it out, if we could come up with funds to get that done.
Are we, how much are we leaking as far as water goes?
Leaks are way better because we had some plumbing replaced. We had to leave the water, well, years ago, we had to leave the water running all the time. And we had to leave chlorine run all the time, chemicals. And we had, 2 or 3 years ago, we had a company come in, scope the pipes. They told us, what areas we needed to tear up, and we did. And now, we hardly add water, maybe once or twice a day. It's an automatic fill, but it depends if it's hot out. Chlorine runs when it needs to, not all day. So, that's better. Structurally, I'm gonna say that the pool is in very good shape. I can't say that about the pipes underneath. They're 6 or 8 inch PVC. Some people have cut out that section of the pool and put new pipe in and left the whole structure there and then redid the top. I went to Plainview and looked at that pool, and it's all cracked and broke around the top, and their director said we should have never done that. But we were trying to save money, so there's a lot of different stuff out there that you can do or can't do.
And our pool's 40 years old?
It's 38 to 40.
Okay,
I was looking at the plaque on
all right.
It was-
I was gonna remember, but
So Byron elected to do a new line rather than a new pool.
if I got it right, yeah, I think it's Byron that's going through the process right now. And I emailed him and I didn't get the information that I wanted to. I wanted like specifications. And I think he just gave me the tally of how much it's gonna cost. So I'm sure we could get, more information from them, but
So this 8950 would tell us what needs to be repaired, what doesn't,
Yeah.
and if we spend another 7,000, we would what?
my
That's for
understanding is another
construction.
15,000, that's to help you build new, so I think we're thinking, let's go step by step. And the Parks Board has said do all of it, but, I think
I think Bill Kay had a good point. So if we do some of the work in the first batch, possibly some of that information could be used in the feasibility study. because they're gonna have size measurements. So I think you're right on that, yeah.
Well, definitely, we have a baseline of information.
Right. We're not looking at like a new pool on a new site in the future, you know, we don't have that plan, so that's
Oh,
what I was.
you can't see what's on my screen, but it just says, professional service for step one is evaluation, development of scope and cost to renovate the existing facility to a state of good repair and code compliance. They'll break down the facility to 32 different categories, they'll do on-site engineering reviews, develop opinions of probable construction costs, do 3 in-person visits. Then it sounds like step 2 is like, you guys look at all this and said, why are we spending this money to repair it? We wanna just build new, then they come back and.
I brought this up in the past, at our budget session,
I remember.
and that, what, 4 or 5 years, ago. And we need to get this done, because it's,
Well, then I move to approve the 8950 to get the evaluation to see what our next steps will be really.
already started.
We have a first, we have a second, we have a first from Tim, second from Jeff. Thank you for that background, so that at least gives me hope that maybe other age facilities are finding they can do repairs, so we'll see what we learn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
I believe it was mission 86.
86.
Yeah.
And I apologize, in the mid-80s, I did pick that stuff off the bottom of the Tyler Municipal Pool, and I apologize. I didn't know how valuable it was. I do remember getting yelled about that about it. All right, so now our amendment for Stonebrook Engineering, we have a reboot with them. Do you wanna say what?
The main thing that changed with this is that, we're gonna do a lot of work on Fourth Grant Boulevard through the project, so there's some work included in the contract amendment. With that,
Not Hiawatha, Brian said that's minimal under Hiawatha.
yeah, yep, and, we need to, it's called additional geotech work and surcharge plan, and basically, we're gonna build over all the contamination, and there's a bunch of geotech work associated with that. A little bit of RAP planning, and then city utilities, sanitary water main design. And so, Dietrich provided some good feedback. The engineer provided a response, so I'm just asking to approve the amendment, plus or minus 5%. So 80% of this is covered through our congressional allocation. We're technically on the hook for 220,000. I am hoping to continue to be aggressive with funding, and would also say that, you know, the Port Authority has been really involved with anything related to that geotech work of about $80,000. I think it's reasonable that they could cover those costs. And the 40,000 in utilities engineering would be associated with whatever source of funds covers those utilities. It might be, you know, our water sewer, or hopefully a grant that I will apply for this year.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Dean, do we have a second?
We just gotta get it done.
First by Dean,
Second.
we have a second by John. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Moving the food share mural, this Tony teed this up, so they've searched and searched for a good home. I think Sue or Tony, I think put it under the bridge by the farmer's market. There's just structural problems that make that not possible. So then they look toward the downriver side of the community garden, right next to the garden, but that abuts the property very close by. So now it sounds like it's moving down into the vacated alley. And my only thought was, we did have some discussion in this Highway 60 reboot about discharge through that vacated space. So maybe, I don't know if Sue's imagining it off the ground.
The picture that, unless something's changed, I thought it was gonna be up in the higher area, in line with Bridge Avenue. Unless there's a different one
Like that.
along that alley.
No,
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's the latest version she gave me.
okay.
And in our Highway 60, engineering behind, there may be a need to discharge water, and the engineer prefer for it to just go passively. They don't really want to have it go through it. Remember this conversation, Tony?
Yeah.
And we said, well, that shouldn't be a problem because that's just a vacant lot next door. So I was just curious if it's off the ground. I bet it's not, because that's not good for the mural, so I'm guessing it's off the ground, and that would still be fine.
We could show this picture to them at the
Yeah.
meeting and see if we need to shut it down a little bit.
Right. You're just.
Bill, do you have anything to add, cause I actually wasn't at that discussion from what the.
So this is a bridge, not.
Grant.
It was gonna be.
Did I say Grant Bridge?
It was not
Bridge,
bridge.
well, they wouldn't let us put her on grant.
Well, no, but I mean, I thought they were facing.
Going parallel
this way,
bridge.
So they're paving, okay.
So if you're walking. on
Is it
sidewalk-
between the house and the gardens, or is it between the road and the garden?
It's actually between the road
Road
and
and the
the
garden.
house.
Well, yeah, but there's gardens.
No, there's gardens are to the left of the blue garden shed,
Oh,
so now that's just literally a low area.
Still,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
oh, so they're moving it towards Grant more.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Everybody good on clear on that?
The big thing was, can we do this, cause this was deed restricted, this used to belong to Addis and they sold it, and I got some information that they had no record of us having a program, but B, even if we did, it would be allowable, so that was a big thing. Wendy, do you have anything to add to the location? I don't know, maybe we need to clarify.
I wasn't thinking it was gonna be that direction, only because we had discussed, the adjacent property owner with the new house was gonna potentially needing like some type of modification to his driveway access because of its proximity to the roundabout.
Okay,
So I don't know.
we'll take it to the next time.
Yeah, there's plenty of.
I was thinking it was going the other way on the backside, so when you drove on Grant, like towards the hospital and you look to your right, you see it.
Yeah, that's what
I don't think it's deep enough.
It's not
That,
deep
the
enough.
mural's really long, I don't think that, yeah.
I don't know, that lot's pretty big, but that's what I thought, so it'll be
I
real
thought
over
we
the
measured
garden.
it, it was okay,
Oh, yeah.
because you need how
Yes.
much feet.
It's gonna fit diagonally, it's gonna fit diagonally on the property, adjacent to the community garden. The, whatever this county land, whatever it is, it was gonna go diagonally. And Sue was there, we had the dimensions, I don't have the park board information with me, but dimensionally it was gonna fit on that land.
So not this proposal,
So,
not this direction.
yes, in that direction.
Oh, we had discussed the other direction, so, yeah.
It is facing what I would call
Let's
west.
get it clarified.
Yeah.
Table it.
I think
Yeah.
council's fine, however, it fits dimensionally on the, and works with what it needs to happen to the property, if it's gonna be affected somewhat by the street project, or by the roundabout.
Now,
Council's fine.
that's not part of my vote is that we're gonna block a sidewalk there if we ever put one.
So, yeah, so we just approve that it's being relocated and then,
They
work
can
with,
figure out where to put it.
work with the Stonework team and make sure everything's fine.
I move that.
We have a motion, do we have a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Thank you, we've had, good participation from Jeff and
Number 6.
Brian, yeah, that's what I'm, on the ad hoc, police union, fire chief pay, we like to appoint them again.
I move to approve.
Motion.
Second.
First by Tim, second by John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Abstentions. To the library, we have, Wabasha Rotary for summer reading, $1,000 donation, a $500 anonymous donation, a $20 donation from Devin Mike Smith in memory of Rita Reynolds. To the fireworks, $30 from Kathy Basham, $500 from WMB Financial. To the Wabasha Athletic Complex, $2,000 from Wabasha Pellet Area Community Foundation, $416.67 from Wabasha Dentistry, and to fire, $10,000 from the Wabasha Fire Relief Association. Do you have a motion to approve the donations?
I move.
That was Tim, and first from Tim, second from Jeff. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Any other announcements? So we have our budget workshop coming up on the 25th, at 3 p.m. That's at the library. Wendy, yeah?
Primary election
Thank you.
is next Tuesday. Already pre-thinking fire, public works, everybody that helps out at City Hall and staff.
Very good, thank you for
It's
that.
to be a long day, but
Yep.
it works out pretty well, so.
Thank you, everybody. All right, motion to adjourn.
I move.
Thank you, Tim. Second by Dean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Oh, Dean, did you want to oppose?
No.
Have a good evening.
Oh, no, she's probably for that. Put on the back.
I was gonna tell you,